In this video, we'll discuss how and why you should read the latest email on a thread before responding back. So let's start out with a problem. Now, most people respond to emails from the bottom up of their inbox, and this means that they'll respond to emails in the order in which they were received. Now, the problem with that approach is that they might be responding to older messages, and the conversation could have moved on with multiple replies to the same subject. So a response could be based on outdated information because some newer messages were left unopened. And a very simple solution is to delay replying until you make sure that you've read all the unopened emails about a specific subject. So let's look at a typical email inbox. You've got the from field, the subject, and the date. And what usually happens is that people read their email from the bottom up. So they start by reading the email at the bottom, and then the next one after that, and then after that, and responding to each as they go along. Now the problem is when they want to respond to an email such as this one here, fiber optics cable issue, they wouldn't notice that it's also scattered all throughout their inbox, and they might be replying to outdated information. And a quick visual here shows you the same subject that is scattered throughout their inbox. And typically what they need to do is respond back to this latest one here on the 8th of March instead of the 7th here at the bottom, so that they make sure that they are responding back to the latest conversation and decisions that are made. So let me show you how you can easily start sorting those out. The first step is to sort your messages by subject. Now, if your inbox is quite full and you cannot easily spot all the messages about a specific subject, then you can sort your emails by subject line. And this makes it quicker to see an email thread because the messages will be stacked on top of each other. So going back to our previous example, usually what you can do is that you click on this header over here by hitting the subject column. And what happens is that once you click it, you'll notice usually a small little triangle that indicates that you have sorted things by subject. And you'll see here that all these subject lines that are similar are stacked right on top of each other. And you'll notice here that our topic of interest, the fiber optics cable issue subject line, is all clumped together, and you can tell from the dates what came in when, and you can simply just read through every single message and then reply to the latest one over here. So that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is using something called conversation threading. Now, some email programs have a feature called conversation threading where messages with the same subject line are visually grouped together. Now, you can turn that feature on, so it is optional, and view all your related emails in one thread as well. Let me show you how this works. So if you're using Outlook, the way you can turn this feature on is to go to the ribbon at the top, click on the View tab, and then where it says Show as Conversations, just make sure that you have that checked off. And if you're using Gmail, where you go is to Settings at the top, and then make sure you are on the General tab, and then right there at the bottom, make sure that you have the conversation view selected to be on using the radio button. And to show you how this looks like using the previous example, you'll notice that the number of line items has significantly reduced. And the way you'll read this is if you look at this subject here, fiber optics cable issue, you'll notice some of the people who have responded to this email. So Steve, Jason, and Michelle. And then the ... just indicates that there are more people than just those three. And then this number in parentheses basically lets you know that there are 5 different emails about this specific subject line. And then the date over here indicates when that last email came in about the subject. And again, this just makes things in life a little bit easier where you see everything visually clumped together and you can run through the emails and read through the messages before replying back. Alright, so that was the first tip. The second tip is that if you make a mistake, correct it by replying back to the team. So if you make a mistake and reply to an outdated email, then do everyone a favor and immediately respond with a clarification. Now, a good practice is to reply all, acknowledge that your previous reply was incorrect, and explain what your updated reply is. And you need to do that because sometimes your readers don't even realize that you replied to an outdated email. So a simple example here is, Team, I'm sorry, I just noticed I replied back to an email that was not the latest one on the thread. Based on the most recent information, I agree that we should set up a meeting to discuss. Alright, so that's it. Let's wrap up with a quick summary. Read the latest email on a thread before responding. The first tip is to sort your messages by subject or use conversation threading. And the second tip is that if you make a mistake, correct it by replying back to the team. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching.